Hello and welcome to the Freak Show. I'm your ringmaster and occasional bearded lady, author Aliana Poe. Today we have with us Fallon Raynes. So, can you tell us about your books?
I write thrillers and some horror. I have Dangerous Sledges, which is my novel, and I'm working on The Applicant, which is not done yet. But Dangerous Sledges is about Liza McAllister. Her and her husband were going through some rough patches, and he decided to do some cheating and ended up getting divorced because of it. And he went a little off the deep end. But
Yeah.
to preclude that, he had been taking some medication for something, and she had begged him to get off of it, and he didn't. So it messed him up a little bit.
Hmm.
So
I had a neighbor like that. But
yeah.
I'm currently reading Dangerous Ledges, and I just have to say, I really like how the title fits into the story. I'm not going to say how. People are going to have to read it to figure out how. But yeah, it was just really clever. The first chapter was really good. I think I'm on chapter 4 right now. So yeah,
Awesome.
I still have ways to go.
Yep.
But yeah, I really enjoy it so far. And I look forward to seeing how Liza gets out of it.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's really
Yes.
what
The
I look
last
forward
last
to.
bit. I'll be interested in your thoughts.
Yeah, I'll be sure to do a review. Yeah. Um, so obviously to viewers, she's wearing a mask. She goes by a pen name. Um,
Yep.
Not a lot of people know that. I don't go by a pen name, and I'm always curious, like, why do you choose to go by a pen name?
My day job, I do
Yeah.
bookkeeping, and to interact with clients and everything else, I don't want to have that side of me out there right now.
Mhm.
Eventually it will, but probably when I'm done and retired from
Yeah.
bookkeeping world. But for the anonymity of what I do and everything else, because it's so what do I want to say? The things that I work with, I'd rather not have that included in what I
Yeah.
do for writing.
Yeah. No, it's understandable. I know I know a lot of people use a pen name. I was born into the Poe family, so it's kind of useless to use a pen name. Yeah.
Yes, that is totally awesome.
Yeah. So obviously you write horror and thrillers, right?
Mhm.
So what would you say is your favorite subgenre?
Um, I just wrote Double Dutch not too long, well, last year. It was a short little story to put into the Crimson Raven magazine, which I do not have a copy of. I gave mine away. Otherwise, I'd share that here. That Savannah, actually Ashby and Crespin Frost produced, and um, it's a paranormal, and I liked I liked that. So
Hmm.
I will add more to that story eventually when I can get time to write. Um,
So is there any paranormal elements in Dangerous Ledges or Dangerous Beginnings?
Dangerous Ledges and Dangerous Beginnings, no. It's more of a domestic horror, Dangerous Beginnings is more on the thriller side because it didn't get too dark. It started to show what he was becoming. So when you get into Dangerous Ledges, you get to see the demon. So I know it's not as dark as some people would like, but I kept it where it needed to be. The story told me what to write, and that's what I put on the pages.
No, it's funny because I feel the same way about Mukbang. I'm like, man, is this dark enough to be considered splatterpunk? But it was what I wanted to write, and I think that as writers, we should just be okay with that, and we don't have to necessarily be as dark or even as cheery as other authors. It's just our style. I think it's
Right.
perfectly acceptable.
Right.
Yeah.
Totally agree with that.
Yeah.
If the
Who do you
story's not
think,
there, you can't put it on the pages.
yeah, who do you think is your ideal audience when thinking about like branding and stuff, you know, who do you think is perfect for reading your work?
After getting a few reviews from Dangerous Sledges calling the first part of it YA, I think some of the younger generation are probably, and I don't want to say the younger generation can't read it. I'm just thinking through some of the mothers that read it that have younger kids that haven't really had teenage kids yet. And when you pick up um, your kids from school or they come home from school, they've got little sayings or words for their age grade. And eventually you hear it enough, you start putting it in your own language. So some of that went through in that part when Liza was talking to Trinity and they're best friends from school. So you get the old, the younger talk because you're with your best friend from that age group. So that did have a little bit of feedback on that being, a few YA words on it. But I think anybody can read this that's an adult. Even, older high school kids, if they want to get into it. I know I read Stephen King in high school, so I don't think it's really any darker than some of the stuff that he's put out, honestly. So if you're reading some of those in high school, I don't see why you couldn't try this out.
Yeah,
But
for sure. I'm currently rereading Eaton, and I feel like I'm like, man, this is kind of young adult, you know? It's, I mean,
well,
it I was reading Stephen King at 13. So, I think it's up to the person, maybe their parents if they're young enough, to decide what they're allowed to read.
yeah,
But writing style wise, as a person who's reading Dangerous Ledges, I don't think it's young adult.
no, not when you get further in.
Yeah.
You definitely see the difference that
Even
it.
the language, like the writing style. There's a difference when you read young adult, you're like, this is young adult. You know,
Mhm. Yeah, you
it's
can
different
definitely
than,
tell.
yeah, it's different. Let's see. I have a whole list of questions and I'm like, oh, let's go through these. One thing that I was really interested in was what inspired Dangerous Ledges.
Um, it culminated from a few things. I had heard a few people talking about a drug that is no longer on the market, and I won't say what it is because of, copyright, whatever. Um, and they removed it from the pharmaceuticals, so it's no longer in use. A few people have had issues with it and psychotic episodes. And reading that and hearing about that, and then of course having cheating ex-husbands, or I shouldn't say ex-husbands, I have one ex-husband, um, and ex-boyfriends. You just kind of, I don't know, you pull in stories and stuff starts to mesh in picture forms and you start writing down what comes out.
So it is a really personal story for you.
Somewhat yes, somewhat no. A lot of it is fiction.
Yeah.
I had two basic things and Ledge was formed from those, and it was not anybody that I've personally encountered, but
Yeah.
you could definitely see that in other people if you were
Yeah.
to, you know, be in the world and be in an verbally abusive relationship. But yeah, that's not anything that I've lived through, and it's neat to see some of the reviews and some of the feedback because people are like, yeah, I could totally see where that could happen.
Yeah.
So I'm glad I made it lifelike and created it, and my editor did an amazing job helping me work through a few of the middle pieces. I don't know if you're like me, but um, I usually have a beginning and sometimes an end of the
Mhm.
story, and then the middle gets a little murky. So finding the pieces to fill the part for the novels is where I get the murkiest. But then I just have a beginning and don't usually have an end. So just see where the story takes me and work through it that way.
Yeah. So on your Amazon profile, it said that you watch ID a lot. So I'm assuming a lot of true crime. Maybe that's
Yes.
where, yeah, maybe that's where some of it came in.
Oh yeah. Some of
Yeah.
it, yeah, because you can see some of the characters, and some of that too. You can tell the people that read more romance than thriller that have picked this up and left reviews about it. If
You
you've read
put,
true crime, you can see how how crazy humans can be,
yeah.
and it is what it is. You don't know what causes it. Sometimes it's a drug, sometimes it's just a chemical imbalance, and sometimes it's just their DNA. It just comes out.
Yeah. Well, I noticed that on Amazon you put not a romance. And I was like, oh, people must have been very confused. And yeah.
Yeah, I put that on there because I was getting, I think, some of the people that were reading the romance thrillers, and I think they were expecting more of that feel, and this just is not.
You're like, no.
It's not a
There's
romance.
no smooching in this book.
No,
Yeah.
no.
Well, I'd like to start the sideshow. So, in case you guys don't know, we do get sponsors. Today's sponsor is W.P. Quigley. His book, The Ascendant Hierophant Trilogy, Book One, is a recent publication. I did have to look up how to say that. So here's the description. It sounds actually really interesting. Dr. David Keating is in a coma, his consciousness fractured into an infinite number of fragments, descending into another world where nothing should exist. His condition is brought on through self-experimentation, an attempt to use his knowledge and skills to cure himself of his afflictions. In desperation, he reaches out from the void to a woman thousands of miles away, hoping she can save him. In calling out, Keating has unwittingly created a connection that does far more than call for rescue. The bond between them could create the next stage in human evolution, the ascendant. And that really, I don't know, that sounds like some really good science fiction. Like,
I really like the sounds of that one. I'm gonna have to add that one to my to be read list.
yeah, you can pick it up on Amazon, Barnes and Noble, and then he has a website for the Ascendant Publishing, ascendantpublishing.com for his publishing house.
Nice.
Yeah, he's published a couple of a magazine as well. I'll be reading that soon. It's got a bunch of short stories in it, so I look forward to that.
Oh, nice. I like short stories. It gets a little variety.
Yeah, I like being able to like get a taste of an author for as weird
Exactly.
as that sounds. Like anthologies are like taste testing, you know?
Yep, it is, because especially when you've got a group of authors that do an anthology, because then you get to read and find out what their writing is like, and that's what
Yeah.
I like about anthologies. I know some people don't like to read them, but it's personal choice.
Yeah. So you've been in a couple of those, right?
One anthology.
One anthology and a magazine.
Nope, it was in a magazine, yes. And
Yes.
I was in this one, but that's an action thriller. If anybody
Mhm.
likes action thrillers, they can find Temptress in there. The paperback is still online, but the ebook is not. But Temptress came about from there. And I wrote that story for the anthology, and then that sparked a series. So I will be working on that later down the road. But
Okay.
the
Cool.
magazine that I was in, yeah, was Dig Divine magazine. Nightify. You can find Dangerous Beginnings in here. This is still online. This is still available online. And Crimson Raven magazine is produced and published by I can't remember the company now. She changed names on me. I should have wrote that down. But
No, it's okay. I was trying to think because I've been in the magazine and I'm like, I can't remember either.
oh, that's right. You were in the first published one too.
Yeah, it used to be Wolf something, right?
Yes, Twisted Wolf Graphics.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. See, and remember part of it.
Yes, that helped me finish the rest.
Yeah. So pick a number between 1 and 8. These are my out of pocket questions that are a little unhinged. So
7.
oh, 7. I knew you would pick 7. And I purposely put this question at 7. Okay, call me a magician, but would you have sex with any of your characters?
Oh. Probably not.
That's a good answer. It's a good answer. I asked a friend of mine who's a writer, and he was like, well, I make all of my female characters beautiful, in my opinion. So probably, yeah. Like, I was like, that's a little weird. We write horror. We don't write romance.
Exactly.
Right?
I'm not writing romance, and no, I got my husband upstairs that I'm very happy with. So
there you go. See? Weird.
yeah.
I had to ask. I'm like, it's something that I have to ask. Yeah. All right, pick another
Yep.
number.
I'm sorry, I forgot to turn my alarm off.
Yours.
I have number 2, please.
Number 2. What has been your worst story idea to date? Something that you've just like randomly come up with. Maybe you wrote it down, or maybe you were like, that is horrible. Why would I write that?
Um, I have like 3 or 4 different file folders, physical file folders with sticky notes and notes in them for story ideas or titles or, anything for a different genre that I might want to write. But right now, I can't think of anything that was horrible that I've expounded on to see how it would go. So maybe in the future I might be able to answer that question, but right now I don't have one.
I've had some I have put some work into some ideas that I was just like, no. Like, yeah. Okay.
I think the closest thing I've come to is part of an idea that I had for the applicant that I'm working on right now, and that didn't pan out. It didn't flow through. So maybe that. But that story's had several edits, and I'm working on the last few now, so
Okay.
it's closer.
Close. That's good. So would you consider Dangerous Ledges and Dangerous Beginnings to be novels or novellas?
Dangerous Ledges, a novel. It's over
Okay.
62,000 words. So I put that up close. I know most people are like 70,000 is better, but I think that kind of number is good to get, a quick story, quick read. Some of the books that are 90 to 100,000 words take longer for me to read because I don't read that often.
Yeah. Carry on
Dangerous
comfort.
Beginnings. Yeah. Dangerous Beginnings is definitely a short story. That's a short story. So that's not as long as Temptress. Temptress was about 8,000 words. So Dangerous Beginnings is about 3,500, I think. But
that's like a novella, right? Or no, 3,500. I thought you said 35,000. My bad.
no.
That's a short story. Yeah.
Yeah, that's 3,500.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So what would you say is like your favorite form of writing? Like novels, novellas, short stories?
Short stories definitely go quicker.
Yeah.
You don't have the middle that you have to worry about. It's fun to write the short stories, but then they usually create a novel idea. So, or a series idea.
Yeah.
But I think I like writing the short stories better than the novels. The novels just take a lot longer to produce. But yeah.
Okay. Well, where can we find you and your work?
FallonRaynes.com. And I
Nice.
printed this on can you even see it?
Yeah.
And I have a page that's called no, I've lost it. It's kind of like a link tree page that you can find all of my links for Facebook, which they're all my blogger posts and all that are down at the bottom of my website. So you can find where I am.
Okay. And you go by Fallon Raynes on every platform, right?
Pretty much, yeah. I'm on MeWe, but there's like 0 going on there. So I might delete that. I'm not on there hardly at all.
What is it?
MeWe.com.
Never heard of it.
WE.com. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
okay. Yeah.
It's kind of boring. Everybody's pretty much on Facebook, even though we all complain about Facebook. It is what it is.
So you can get Dangerous Ledges, Dangerous Beginnings, and Temptress, correct?
Temptress, yep, all on Amazon.
On Amazon.
Yep, and Temptress and Dangerous Ledges are also on Barnes and Noble, Apple, Kobo.
What formats can you get Dangerous Ledges in?
Apple, so your Apple books.
Can you get it? Can you get ebook and paperback though?
Ebook and paperback at Barnes and Noble.
Okay.
And hardback as well.
Oh,
hardback with a dust jacket. Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's fancy. I didn't know you could get one with the dust jacket.
Well, I get it through Ingram Spark. So I
Oh,
push
okay.
them. They push them to the other site. So you can get the hardback too on Amazon too.
Oh, okay, cool.
Check it. Yeah.
What do you post on your blog? I know you have the blog, right?
Yes.
Yes.
I just recently, and I've taken a break right now because I want to get the novel done.
Mm.
But I'll be back with some other authors in September. I have a fun one who took a social media break, and I didn't want to post theirs until they're back. So that'll spark back up in September again. But
Nice.
I have a bunch of horror authors and a few sprinkling of some thriller authors in there. And they all shared a lot of cool answers to some questions that a couple of the people in the BOH group created for me. So I'm like,
Awesome.
I got to ask questions to these people. I don't know what to ask. So they threw a bunch of questions for me. So a lot of the authors went through and answered all of them. And then you have a few that, just answered a few in here and there. And that was just perfect. I loved seeing everybody's answers. And I even asked them some author questions like, what would you do for aspiring authors and that kind of thing. The biggest answer I think that most of them said was just write. Just put the
Yeah.
words on the page and write the story. Don't worry about editing,
Yeah.
that kind of thing.
You just
Because
got to get it down.
you can't edit anything you don't have. So
Yeah, you can't edit a blank page.
yep.
Exactly. All right. Well, I'm happy to have you on as the first guest for the Freak Show.
I'm so
It
excited to be
started
here.
off with a bit of chaos,
Yes.
but we got it figured out. So, see you guys next time.